We good? Okay. Okay, it's 5:30. I'll call the Frankfurt Redevelopment Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Joe Palmer,
Present.
Chris Vaughter,
Present.
John Virtue,
Present.
Eric Woods, Bud McQuaid.
Here.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes, make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Public comment.
Wasn't any.
Okay, Gary, you're on. I do have a couple questions for you just while you're getting ready.
Thank you.
Pictures. What's that? It's just that pictures.
I should put pictures when I got it.
Yes.
Well, Joe, I don't know how you want to handle it. This is just the routine plan update, and I know there were some specific items for operations, public safety, maybe some capital improvement projects for 2026 and in the future. I did reach out to Wanda yesterday, and she provided me with the update for July data, so this is updated through July. I won't really spend much time on anything else other than on page 3, if that's okay.
Okay.
I've got up at the very top there, Senate Bill 1 implications. I've shown a reduction of TIF revenue collections from 25 to 26 of, basically 2.3 million down to about 2.2 million. That's about a 5% drop off year over year, just to account for changes with all these new deductions that are coming online. We're actually seeing across the state that Senate Enrolled Act 1 hasn't really affected redevelopment commissions all that much for 2026. And in fact, the certified net assessed values for Clinton County are out. And there's been growth in the allocation areas for the city. So these projections are very conservative. I will caution us with looking too far into the future as we look at certifications today, because by the time we certify net assessed values here in August, and we look forward to, February and March when the actual auditor's abstract comes out, there's lots and lots of changes that could occur between then and now. So the certified net assessed value being an indication that values will come in better for next year. Until we have that auditor's abstract for what's actually going to be billed, I just caution us in getting too excited about any, positive revenue projections for that reason. So I think this is still a good place to plan, but just know all the numbers I'm going to share with you in just a moment, I think are very conservative by a few $100,000. A few of the items that I had spoken to Joe and others about were a one-time police car purchase. So in 2026, pretty much anything in red there that I've highlighted is what I've added. We have a $213,000 police car purchase. And then going down about halfway, we have an SS4A grant match of $50,000. And then going down to the very bottom, you'll see firefighter salary, and there's 6 identified there. So that would be 6 firefighter salaries. You'll see in 2026 and 2027 that number goes up. We've actually included a 5% escalator on that number just for planning purposes. But the purpose of us including all of this is essentially to help alleviate the city of Frankfurt as operations become more and more challenging under Senate Enrolled Act 1. There's obviously, I think as everyone knows, there's a lot more deductions on 1% residential properties in 2026 and thereon. There's brand new deductions on 2% properties. So rental units will have new deductions that weren't there before. And then finally, there is up to a $300 or 10% tax credit that all homeowners will receive moving forward. So we can think of that as almost like a circuit breaker loss 2.0 for the city funds. So for those reasons, the city is in the process of planning for that and mitigating those impacts on their operating funds, all the while trying to plan for a new station and staffing of a new station as well. One area that's, sort of low-hanging fruit, if you want to look at it that way, is a, opportunity where we could potentially fund some of these things. As of a year or two ago, the state legislature now allows us to fund public safety project, both operations and capital, out of Redevelopment Commission. That gives us a lot of flexibility to alleviate some of those concerns on the operating funds by actually looking at this $2.1 million of annual cash we have coming into the Redevelopment Commission as a way of supplementing those challenges, at least in the short term, if not the long term. So like I said before, obviously we have some one-time capital purchases in there with the police car, but then more of the annual commitment, we're looking at that firefighter salary number just north of 400,000, 422,000 is the estimate for 2026. Mayor has asked us to include essentially the projected salary number, not all employment taxes and other withholdings and insurance and other benefits. Those costs would still be taken on by the city, but they have asked to see what this would look like if we funded that with Redevelopment Commission dollars. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that's part of the reason, or maybe the only reason that I'm here, is to discuss the implications on the cash flows because of that, and to entertain or field questions about anything I've just described.
Senate bill, I know you're a lot more involved in it than I am. Are you expecting them to maybe go back and try to make some changes at some point, or have you heard anything?
I think the changes on the 1% and 2%, so the homeowners and the multifamily residential, so those new deductions and the homestead credit, I don't foresee that going anywhere. So essentially what that's created in a lot of communities is it's going to be really hard to grow your tax base moving forward. Luckily for a lot of units in 2026, that wasn't much of a problem. But there is all these new credits we have to contend with, the new homestead credits we have to deal with. That is a revenue loss number we have to consider. We're part of all the AIM technical review committees as we look at this bill and make recommendations on changes moving forward. As far as I know, nothing's being talked about any of those specific deductions. It's more of what the implications of those changes look like and how we mitigate any potential impact and how we fund projects and how local income tax is affected. I think most of the changes are going to come from local income tax. But on the property tax side, I don't see much changing aside from where we are. Most communities are seeing, again, depending on what you're split with multifamily, 1%, commercial industrial properties, how much of that comprises your tax base. We're seeing lots of communities needing to, basically grow their overall assessed value by 8%, 9% year over year, just to outpace that new assessed value loss. So in lots of communities, 2026 is not necessarily our problem because it's the very tip of the iceberg. But as we get closer to 2031 and the homestead deductions go all the way up to, I guess it's a supplemental deduction, goes all the way up from 35% or 40% today, all the way up to 66% in 2031. So lots of new deductions coming online. But yeah, I don't see those changing.
Okay. Probably the only other thing I have is, and I'd asked Wanda earlier, on the hospital payments. We got, I think she stated maybe 2 more, if you could check that for us.
So it was a $500,000 commitment total
Yes.
over the course of, I want to say it was 10 years, 5 years. I can't remember the amount of years. It's 500,000. I went back and added it all up, dating back to, whatever year that was, because we have plan data back to 2013 for these. So I pulled all the funds that have been paid to date on that. I can confirm the projections that we're showing, that $62,500 that's projected to come out next year. That is your final payment.
Okay, so we only have one payment next year.
2 payments of $31,250. Yep.
Okay.
And that's ebbed and flowed in the past as, the agreement was signed mid-year, and you do 2 payments in 1 year, 1 payment the first year, and then we caught it up. So you see a little bit of fluctuation there in 2023 when there was a $93,000 payment and a $31,000 payment in 24. But yeah, $62,500 is the annual payment. It's depending on when it comes out.
Is it next year that we start recovering some of the ConAgra funds?
Yes, good point. So page 4 is not page 4. I have your long-term projections on the consolidated allocation there on page 4. But page 5 is your revenue projections for ConAgra. And again, those numbers are bigger than 2.7 million as well in 2026. But starting in 2026, it goes from being 100% pledge for 10 years to a 90% pledge in 2026. And of that 90%, 10% is retained by the city. Of that 10%, half of it's shared with the county. So net 5%.
It goes 10% every year, right?
It increases 10% every year. Yep. So, which if you're sharing half of it with the county, I guess it's 5%. So you get 5% year one, 10% year two, 15% year three, so on.
Any other questions for Jerry? And more for Chris, but it's, we are gonna set the budget hearing for us for RDC's budget for the 25th. So if you've got any recommendations or anything, just let us know, John or I.
And I didn't touch on cash balance. I mean, obviously with these changes, there was a lot of changes in 2026, and I think these revenue projections are very conservative. But even with that, we're projected in this year with about 2.7 million. Next year, we're projected to be at 2.5. Once that goes actual, is it closer to 2.6, 2.7? I think so. So all that said, I think going forward, even with absorbing some of those operational costs on a more annual basis, we would anticipate the revenue projections would keep up with it to where that cash balance could be maintained. And even if it couldn't, you guys have a very healthy cash balance to be very flexible with what you do moving forward.
I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to schools, I know just our last meeting, we were presented with really some sobering projections as far as the Senate bills and so forth, and how it's going to apply us. Are we looking at any type of fallout from what you're giving us here? Will the schools see anything different, less money, more money?
From Senate Roll Act 1?
Yeah.
That's a very nuanced question. Where did your revenue projections come from that you were looking at?
Well, our assistant superintendent provided them to us. I don't have, it came from here.
Sure.
But he was referring back to the SB 1, and there's another one that he mentioned too.
SEA 1?
That may have been.
Yeah.
I know I'd have brought that paperwork with me, but.
So the DLGF's provided information for most communities, just because, not everyone has a financial advisor. Really to provide communities with a really detailed look at Senate Bill 1, you have to look at every parcel in the entire county. So we built a system where we, did this for Frankfurt. We go into Clinton County, we pull every parcel in Clinton County. We apply all these new deductions, all these new changes, and we extrapolate data based off a conservative gross assessed value number. From that, we're able to compute what the circuit breaker implications are and what the new homestead credit losses are.
I guess I'm just spitballing here just a little bit.
Yep.
It was really coming out of the clear blue when he presented those figures to us.
Yep.
But I just don't want us to be caught, blindsided. Especially with we get some of our funding from here. Am I correct with that? We get some. And are we talking about, movement with those monies? Could that affect us? Because right now we're in good shape, but our enrollment's dropping, and that is an issue for us, obviously. And with the expenses, daily expenses going up, we're looking at all the places to look for money.
Yeah, so a lot of your concerns are being echoed by a lot of communities. We have a couple school clients now, and ones that I'm meeting with are having very similar challenges.
Yeah.
The circuit breaker loss and the homestead credit loss is difficult to overcome. There's not an offset to revenue. Communities have the ability to issue, income tax rates. So the whole income tax system is being reformed right now, and that's creating a whole list of other problems in itself. But for communities that receive property tax relief that have high circuit breakers, schools get relief from income tax in an indirect way now. That goes away in 2028.
Right.
So that's a cliff for a lot of communities, and the conversations we're having is a combination of capital improvement bonds to fund capital with. So you're pulling all capital out of your budget and funding it through a different designated levy.
Bonds were discussed also. How
Yep.
we have-
That's one strategy. The second strategy is honestly, it's operating referendum. And where all of this goes long-term, for communities that are not growing, like a donut county, for instance, is I suspect that you'll see a lot of consolidations, a lot of mergers, and you'll see a lot of operating referendums. That's where it'll have to go, ultimately.
Right. Well, we're not discussing any type of consolidations or anything,
No one is yet.
but, we just
Yep.
want to make sure, and I can't speak for the other members of the board, but I think we want to make sure, and the administration, that we are prepared for any type of deviations, and I feel like this could be a bump in the road, if you want to refer to it that way.
Senator Oak one?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It is for everybody.
Well, I understand that, but that's the reason why I'm here. I'm here for the schools.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I need. I just want to make sure
Everyone's having the conversations.
that at least I threw it out there just for information purposes. I do not have all the answers. I mean, we can get that either through the superintendent's office.
I mean, the information the state's providing isn't that great, to be honest, because, and I think they're doing the right thing by protecting the local units by saying, here's a very conservative estimate of revenue loss. That way you have a place to plan from that's conservative.
Yes.
So that's been our experience. Either the numbers that they put out, which they're not doing what we're doing. They're just, painting with broad strokes,
Yes,
right?
Very much so.
And they're assuming everyone's taking full debt levies and everyone's taking their max levy funds and maxing out their debt rates and AV's not growing. That's what they're assuming. And when you do that, it inflates the, on the projections, it inflates the tax rate and it inflates the tax loss. Then they're showing you that. So I've seen communities where the deviations between our projections and the state's projections are over $1 million for next year. Some of them are pretty close. That's why I ask where you're getting the projections from, because if they're from the DLGF, they might be conservative. They might be really conservative.
Well, he was kind of sweating bullets when he was telling us, to be honest with you.
Sure.
But he told us so we would be educated and be aware.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if it's getting to that point, then obviously they'll take the appropriate steps with
Yep.
who we need to.
Yep.
But since I'm here as a schools representative, just want to make sure that if there's anything that I need to tell them, whether it's superintendents or the board members, but that's fine.
Nothing here that we're discussing here will positively or negatively impact the school corporation.
Last thing I want is,
Yep.
I wish we had said something,
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it anytime
Yeah.
that you'd like, so.
Thank you.
okay, any other questions for Gary? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Kimberly?
Good evening. Mayor Sheets, Joe, and the county met about a month ago to talk about how we can not necessarily change Frankfurt, but how we can bring developers and investors into the city of Frankfurt. And I'll pass this. You can pass this on down to Joe. This is with Civitas. They're a firm or organization that does well known for their developer roundtable and engagement meetings. I had this conversation with Joe because there's some areas in our downtown that I think could definitely benefit from this, and areas that would benefit our TIF area. And they're a part of Veritas Group. What they would pretty much do is we would work with them to identify potential areas that we would like to redevelop, reimagine, look at different things that we could potentially bring into the city of Frankfurt. The example I have is they just did one recently with the town of Fortville. It was a 2-day engagement class, and they brought in about 60 different developers. They talked to about the city, had elected officials there, redevelopment commission, county was there, economic development, so kind of an all-together forum where we can present our ideas of what we would like to see Frankfurt. And then also on the back end of that, for them to be able to go back into their company or to their, partners and say, hey, we're interested in Frankfurt. We may like this area of Frankfurt, or we may like that area of Frankfurt, and we may want to put in more housing, or we may want to put a multi-use space in, or whatever that looks like, right? And so this would be an opportunity that the city was hoping to potentially partner with the Redevelopment Commission on, partner with the county and the economic development side. And so what I'm asking at the end of the day, when talking with Joe and talking with Eric and the county, is for $15,000 at most. So we would cap it to be able to have this type of developer roundtable. I'm hoping to do it at Prairie Creek Park, depending on how many people show up. We may have to move location, but to have it at Prairie Creek Park this fall, and to invite, obviously Dawn with Planning and Housing to be a part of this as well, to kind of get Frankfurt, the buzz going with Frankfurt, and to get different ideas from different developers and investors. So.
It's kind of a partnership with county
Yes.
and city and investors, so.
Pretty much, they would kind of take hold of, I don't want to say the meeting, but they would take hold of getting everyone here to Frankfurt, help us kind of put a plan in place of what we want to present. And like I said, it could be a 2-day, that's why the funding may change between 1 or 2 days worth of developers and investors. So it's an out of the box idea, but there's some areas that Dawn and I have talked about. There's some areas that Shane's talked about. There's some areas that you all have kind of talked about as far as different ways that we can kind of develop our downtown. And this was just something that I thought was kind of unique, and how we can all kind of collaborate together to bring this to light. So that was their slide deck that they presented. They had about 60 developers.
Any questions for
Do you
Ken?
feel like they can get that number of developers to Frankfurt for this sort of thing? Okay.
When did they do the Fortville roundtable?
I believe it was this spring.
And have you had any opportunity to talk to their
So
local
that
government?
is where my next step is going to be. I just kind of wanted to see if funding was an opportunity, and then being able to do my homework and be able to report back to you all at the next meeting. So I'm hoping to, if everything goes according to plan, I would like to do this around November time, one before everybody goes crazy with Christmas and those and vacations, and kind of in the fall season. So. But yes, I will definitely be reaching
And I
out to them.
will say, Mr. Brewer was there. The county seems to be interested in it too, so.
Yeah.
My thoughts would just be to see if Fortville thought it was a good use of their resources to hire them to do that. Obviously, it's early on, but they should be able to tell if they actually
Yeah.
brought enough people to the table to discuss future development. And is the county interested in helping pay any of this? Is the other?
That's where I'm headed. So
Okay.
you guys were kind of the city and redevelopment was my first stop, and county will be my second stop. So as well as economic development side with either PIP or CEF. So yep.
Do you feel comfortable with the information that Fortville could provide? The demographics are quite a bit different than Frankfurt, aren't they?
They are, but ultimately what my goal would be with them is, one, if it was something that I don't want to spend a lot of time and somebody be like, we're not interested, right? So the ultimate goal would be, okay, so how successful did you have your 2 days? And then what do you guys see? Because you should be 6 months out at least. What are you seeing as far as either land acquisition or projects or those type of things that are coming out of their planning department? So probably phone calls to Fortville and then to their area plan or planning and housing side of things.
Have they worked with any other cities besides Fortville?
Yes, and let me see if I've. I thought they did. Yes. I can get you a list.
Okay. This Fortville's really close to Indy, and that's kind of,
Yeah,
Indy's kind of
Mm-hmm.
growing.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's one of it's a donut.
Yeah.
Exactly, but is there, you say the county's interested in this. So if they would come here and it would involve annexation, the county would be involved in that or agreeable to that, do you think?
The portion that, the section that kind of were the focus, not exactly annexation, but more of, the downtown development and probably the ring outside. So you're looking at, West Washington, you're looking at North Main, you're looking at, more towards, the west side would probably be, or the north side. There's some property on the south corner, the south side of Jackson that could definitely, there's for sale sign, for rent signs, those type of things. What else can we put in there, that would drive people, and would drive different types of businesses, so.
Well, I think it's always great to have different opinions and perspectives.
I'm with you. Sometimes we kind of get blinders and tunnel vision and Frankfurt has to be this or Frankfurt has to be one set. And this is an opportunity to kind of broaden what that maybe look like. And, you know, after the ideas come back, the city has an opportunity, redevelopment has an opportunity, the county has an opportunity to say yay or, you know, that's not really the direction we want to go, or this may be the direction we want to go. But it's kind of working, like I said, collaborating together, you know, to bring hopefully some
Well, I know that
new
back
ideas.
under Don's administration, we did a comprehensive plan that was all great and so forth, but it just didn't work out well. did it? I mean, there was nothing wrong with the ideas, but we just didn't have good direction, if you will call it that, from our developer, if you will call it that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. 'Cause how many times have we ever heard, it's just Frankfurt?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, is very frustrating.
Is that 15,000, is that the, total amount right now?
No, it would be, well, it would be half, depending on if it's 1 or 2 days. So that's why the max would be 15.
So what's the board's pleasure?
I think we table it until you make sure was useful at Fortville, and I like the idea, just I'd like you to confirm it's worth our time.
I agree.
I like to plant seeds. Doesn't always have to be something that, it's just an idea that,
Yeah.
you know, if you never ask, you don't ever know. And so planting seeds is what I do all the time.
So are you
plant them
good,
everywhere, Wanda.
good to come back next month and let us know what you come up with?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And if they have the similar type packet for any other communities that are.
right.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing, I mean, nothing wrong with Fortville.
Yeah.
Been there many times, but.
Somebody out of the donut there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I
wonder
have
if
that
you'll-
back? That's my only copy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm saving paper.
Wonder if you'll put it on for next month's,
Yep.
the table round table. Okay, any other questions?
Can I throw in?
Sure.
Because
You want to come up to the mic? Since we're being recorded now.
So everybody can hear.
live in Limericks. I think the most important thing about what Kim's trying to get accomplished here, or Kimberly's trying to get accomplished, is that once you look at the size of the city of Frankfurt, we're just about finished developing. We're about full. There's some ground that's probably going to be housing out by Mash Road, but once you get inside the city limits, it's pretty well done. And the best thing about this is that if you're going to plan on what we're going to look like, I've been saying for quite a while that it's time for the city to get in touch with the county and say, we want to have a big decision on what's going to happen in that 2-mile radius around the city of Frankfurt. And annexation is going to have to occur sooner or later. And we need to be able to say what we want to do in that area, not just let the county do that. So I think it's an important adventure that Kimberly's presenting, and I think should be, and I know you're seriously looking at it, which is great, but there's a lot of people knocking at the door right now. And we just need to be better prepared on what direction that we want to go, and I think this is a program that will get us there.
Thank you, Don. Okay, let's jump down to claims. Everybody had a chance to look at them.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Any new business? Old business? I'm going to say old because of Monday night's meeting. I did not get a chance to get a opinion whether you wanted to pursue changing the economic development plan on the personnel that we talked about. I did ask the counselor to go ahead and put something together for us, but I just wanted to make sure everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, if we need to well, obviously we need to clarify that, so we probably need a
Yes.
resolution on that.
So,
Question was on the economic development plan, right?
yes, it's just changing the wording to incorporate personnel.
Yeah, we have in our economic development plan already, public safety, but we would just add the personnel to it. I actually did get documents prepared if we want to do those, or we can wait, it doesn't matter. But there are several steps to revise the economic development plan. The first step is that we have to do a declaratory resolution by the RDC, and I have one prepared with that amendment. After we do the declaratory resolution, we have to have an approval of the revision by the City Plan Commission, an approval by the City Council, and then we have to have a public hearing on the plan revision, and then a confirmatory resolution passed, and then it has to be recorded in our official records, and then it has to be filed with the DLGF and the auditor. So,
I'm guessing the law says that the plan commission has to be involved.
yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's all statutory. So, I do have the declaratory resolution, ready to go. If you all want to do that tonight, otherwise, we can wait and we can do it next time.
I'm
Doesn't
going
make
to
a
say let's hold off till September, but you might get it emailed out to all of us or
Okay,
get it to one.
I did get it to Wanda yesterday, but
Okay.
since it was Monday, I didn't get it done until yesterday, so.
that's fine.
What I am going to recommend, though, I will tell you right now, so last time that we did it, I went through, when I was putting this together, I went through to find the confirmatory resolution, and I couldn't find it, so I don't know if it was actually ever passed the last time, so that.
For which one?
For adding the last time that we did a revision, we added language about facade renovations, including window replacements, front, side, rear improvement, roof replacements, and then streetscaping, building remodeling, and upper story renovations. And then we also did the public safety emergency resources. And I don't know, I couldn't find that had been the confirmatory resolution, which is the last step from the RDC. So what I am recommending is that we just add in the new personnel language, and then we just do all of this
it all over
just to make
again.
sure that we've got it done appropriately. I think when we did this the last time, we had a couple of meetings that got canceled, and then we had some changes as far as the board, and so I just am not positive that actually got done all the way.
Fair enough.
So that said, I want to include those as well in this, just to make sure that we get everything done absolutely correctly and we're good.
Would you do a highlighted version on that for us or something?
Yes, I can.
And it's not that,
The only thing that changed was I added hiring of necessary personnel. So that's the only thing that I changed from the last time that we looked at that.
Okay.
And then what I did last time and what I will do this time, or what I have done for this time, is instead of changing the entire plan and changing the language, I only had a PDF of it. So, and we couldn't find a Word document of it. So I did an amendment that is a separate page that would then get attached to it. And so I did amend that page to add the personnel, but that would include all of the amendments that we wanted to do the last time, just to make sure that we've got it all done correctly. And then, once we do that declaratory resolution, then I will take that to city plan and to the council and get their approval. I already have resolutions prepared for both of those, and then I have the confirmatory resolution and the notice of public hearing ready to go. So once we're ready to launch, I've got all the docs. Are there any questions I can answer?
Any questions? Okay. Going back to Kimberly, I did, notice that pretty good concert Saturday night.
Big 80s always brings out a large
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah, a pretty good crowd, so.
They also had the best weather of the entire summer, so.
Oh, yeah, I
It was a
agree.
nice evening, for sure, for sure.
Did you guys get a chance to go down, or?
I was out of town.
It was pretty full, pretty full, so.
It helps when it was 60 degrees by 7 o'clock and there was no humidity and so, yeah,
So,
it was nice.
does anybody have anything they want to say before we adjourn? Okay, call the meeting adjourned. I missed it by 5 minutes.
Close enough.
Thanks, Chris and John.
Thank you, Joe. I'll see you,
Yeah, that's